Good morning, everyone. I got some more inspiration for you, and it's early in the morning, and I've been getting a lot of messages about water lately, and I decided to grab my Earth Magic cards and just pull out all the water cards, because especially with everything that's going on with North Dakota and the pipeline and everyone making a stand, those who care about Gaia and her sacred resources. It's just been in the back of my mind lately, along with a lot of other things. I think right now, with the energies that are coming in and with us awakening and becoming more in tune, we're really starting to hear the voices around us, not the voices in our heads, but the voices around us. And a lot of us can be the voice for Gaia. And I think I read about that in, I know I wrote about that in my book, Candlelight and Cobwebs. You know, we get into the oracles of Delphi and, Delphi, Greece, or Delphi, however you choose to pronounce it. The oracles prophesied, they spoke for Gaia, the goddess Gaia, for over 1,200 years until the patriarchal society decided to take over, and the priests decided that, no, you're actually speaking for the god Apollo. And so I just thought, oh gosh, all of this is coming in, and we're hearing things, and we're reconnecting with Gaia right now. And it reminded me of my old days in my women's circles and some of the songs that we would sing. And, lately these songs have been really hitting home, one like Earth My Body, Water My Blood, Air Our Breath, and Fire Our Spirit. And so many of us sang that song, and we were just singing the words. We really weren't imbuing what those words, what that chant actually meant, and how we are part of Gaia and Gaia is part of us, and how the elements were made before we were made. The elements were formed, we hear about Pangaea, the forming of Earth, that realm before what we have today, and how that has to do with us, and how if we didn't have the water, the earth, the air, and the fire, none of us would exist. We wouldn't have this physicality. And so, I just wanted to remind us how, yes, it's very important for us to breach the old paradigm, and realize that how we've been treating Gaia and all of her natural force resources and taking from her and not giving back is what we've been doing to ourselves. And, it's very interesting because, there's so many scientists, and the Japanese scientists, I think a lot of you have already seen these Japanese. I'm not very good at those names, dyslexia, I never remember names. But his video on water and what you can do to water, and how water is programmable, just like crystals. Most of your crystals are programmable. And, it was about how if you take water and you send it love and you talk nice to it, and how you have this beautiful molecular structure when looked under the microscope, and how that water will change if you do the opposite, if you yell at it, if you call it bad words, if you send negative energy, hatred towards it. The molecular structure breaks down, and very jagged and dark and ugly, ugly forms appear. We have to remember that water is living, water is alive. And when the Native Americans say it's sacred, they're right. We have just forgotten. And this is what I talk about, this is why I hold up this card. We have to breach through this old paradigm that this planet is not living. This planet is not alive. Because when we think that, it's saying that we are not living and we are not alive. And we are just surviving. And none of us want to survive. Lake stillness, it's stillness and going within and remembering. And right now we are in the time of the tsunami, the wake-up call. And we're all being asked to wake up. Gaia is talking to all of us. And she's asking us for her help, or she's asking us to awaken. And it goes back to what I was talking about, that scientist, when he did his studies on water and how water is living and alive. And there was a lake that was discovered it was in Venezuela. There was a lake that was discovered in Venezuela that never was touched by humanity. It was hidden away in the native, let's say present day humanity, let's say mainstream humanity. The natives who lived in that area, who chose not to be part of our culture and did not want our culture anywhere near and around them, they allowed scientists to come in only to take a sample of the water. And they found out that water was 40,000 times more alive than the water that we drink. And that's because of the natives around there. They know how sacred and important that water is. And they did not allow our polluted minds and in our materialistic minds and needs and greeds to get near that water and touch that water. And so, what does that do about the water that is in the city? The water that goes underground in all of these pipes. And how old are these pipes that this water is going through? And how many angles and curves and turns does this water have to go through? And what kind of metal and material is this water subjected to? And, as it's traveling underground, and on top of it is concrete and automobiles and people who are asleep and stuck in their mundane world and caught in their minds, trapped in their minds about getting to work on time and paying their next bill. What does that do to that water as it's traveling through and around and under and within that city and that mentality? And then you are turning on that tap, filling up your glass and drinking that down. There's a story of a monk. This was long ago in the 1600s. This monk was put in the dungeon, and he was given bread and a little cup of rancid water a day, and he was supposed to be there for 40 days. And the jailer could not figure out why every day that monk was not getting weaker. He was actually getting healthier. Come to find out that monk knew how sacred that water was, and that monk knew that if he prayed on that water, that little bit of rancid water, when it would come, he would pray on it, and it changed the molecular structure of that water. He was able to program that water into, and change it back to its, clarity and healthy form. And this jailer just couldn't realize, he just couldn't figure this out. And this is something that this monk knew, and this monk did, and this monk survived just 40 days in this dungeon. And so, one has to really think, if our bodies are, everybody says something different. Oh, we're 78% water. Oh, we're 90% water. Okay, so we'll say we're 3/4, our body is 3/4 liquid. We're water. We're also, our blood is, earth, our body, water, our blood, air, our breath, and fire, our spirit. So our blood is water, but our blood is also silica. So if your blood dried, it would sparkle because of the silica in it. And so that's earth. So how programmable are we by our environment? If we are water, and water is living, and water can be programmed by its surrounding and by its environment, and changed by what's going on around and through and over and under and within it, does that not affect us the same way? So it makes me wonder, with impressionability, how easy we are to be programmed by the system. The system knows all of this stuff. They don't want us to know about it. And they also want us to think that any of this information is conspiracy theory and hogwash and fake news. Now, isn't that the new term that they have bestowed upon us? Fake news. If it's alternative, it's fake. So, I want all of you to think, when you're drinking water, think about what I just said. And when you're around water, and when the water's coming out of the tap and it's full of fluoride, that does nothing but calcify your pineal gland and stop your awakening and makes you programmable, keeps you in the system, keeps you as, what's the word, sheeple, the sheeple. Run to the trough and drink the water, sheeple. Everything will be fine. Ignorance is bliss. Okay. So, the Native Americans, when they fight for their water, they fight for all of us. Even though sheeple who run to the trough and drink greedily and don't care, they don't care. They don't want to care. They don't want to know. Native Americans still fight for that. They still fight for all of us. They still fight for Gaia. They still fight for this planet. And I think we all need to wake up. We all need to remember this, because this is what could happen, and this is where we are. So I just thought I would talk about that, because it's been on my mind, and it's just like writing the book. If it's in my mind and it won't leave me alone, I need to do something to get it out. And so that's what I'm doing today. Water is sacred. Earth is sacred. Fire is sacred. Air is sacred. All these elements that we are made of, the elements that are all part of us, the elements that are part of Gaia. If you believe in past lives, how many times has our body died and disintegrated within Gaia? It's kind of weird, you walk around and you look at a cemetery, or, could that be me in one of those cemeteries, So yeah, we are of each other. Gaia is the foundation. She's our foundation. She's our body. She's our bones. So anyways, had to get that off my mind. So, water, sacred. North Dakota. Let's do our part in helping save our water. And just by this information, and when the next time you take a drink of water, think about what I said. Us Reiki people know that, you can Reiki your water, your glass of water, before you drink it down. You can do the same thing for your food. It's intention. And we have the power. We do have the power to do this. And so I just feel sorry for all of you who are on city water systems. No wonder you don't feel good. No wonder you don't believe everything that's being told to you. No wonder you don't even want to click the button and listen to this video. And no wonder you keep brushing your teeth with toothpaste full of fluoride. And so it's very hard, the awakening for those of you who are stuck in the city and drinking this programmed water. No wonder it's very hard for you. But there's things you can do. Like I said, we can be mindful and thoughtful when we drink our water. And we can send loving intentions to our water and change the molecular structure, the crystalline aura, if you will, of our water. So anyways, thanks for listening. Oh, here's another great, clouds. Shape-shifting. Yeah. So, water, sacred. Keep that in the back of your mind, people. Have a great day.